to that next generation so you can actually help them out as they're moving and making those decisions. And it is the right thing to do. You will hear the opponents say, that's the worst thing. They don't even want to talk about the death tax. They are only going to focus on the fact that we have removed a capital gains tax for you to be able to transfer your property over to your child. And I think that that's probably one of the most sound business decisions we have ever made, is to include that in the repeal of the death tax. Because it will create a much more stable environment for family businesses to survive. You'll hear tons of people talk about, and my colleagues will talk about, eventually we will make up the revenues in 5 to 10 years. We will actually, the revenues that we have eliminated from the state coffers will actually regain its control, because you will create more income tax and more ability, more investment in those businesses rather than trying to figure out how to liquidate them or tear them apart. But the reality is, it's a really simple message. This is about fairness and families. This is about not double taxing somebody and allowing the families to continue on building upon the strengths of which they have been given a foundation to build on. So that's really what it boils down to. I think it's a terrible tax, and yes, there is a 1.5% of the general budget will be affected, but it will be made up, and the reality is it's double taxation. And one of the things that people don't understand is this is a gross tax. It doesn't matter, and I used to have a family-owned business, we just shut it down, is that it doesn't matter that if you have $1,001,000 in assets and you have $990,000 in deficit, you will get taxed on the $1,001,001, not minus the $990,000 deficits and debt that you have on that. So, $1 million you pay nothing. $1,001,000 you pay $101,000 in taxes to the state. $1 makes a huge difference. Here is, I'm going to go back, the other perverse statement that really, really made me angry in the voter pamphlet. There is a person that was willing to pay $1,200 to put this statement. Currently, the estate tax provides strong incentive for individuals to donate from their estates to charitable organizations, since such donations sharply reduce estate tax liability, eliminating the tax, and we eliminate the incentives for thus charitable bequests. I have never known that exploiting one industry to give me makes me give charitably to another organization. If I were a board of directors and I saw whoever name that is, that would no longer be my director, because what that tells me clearly is he is not invested in what his charitable organization is doing, because it's not of value. He's got to go exploit somebody and try to figure out how to put them in a vice to figure out how to get the money out of them. That is just appalling to me, that I am only charitable when I am forced to be charitable. Now, he has a negative outlook on what community and what people as human beings are, in my opinion.
Yeah, you mentioned that this wasn't about corporations, but about family businesses. Is there an amount that shuts off? In other words, above which there's no tax, or below which there's no tax?
Yes. So there is, if $1 million or less, there is no tax.
On this thing?
On this tax, or on this same period, as it stands right now.
So it just covers those for under...
Right, but remember, it's everything, and people don't remember. It's your 401k, it's your life insurance of which you've got to protect you from this, you're going to pay on, that counts toward it. It's your equipment, your land, any asset that can possibly put to your name without ever recognizing a single debt. So it does not take people long. There are people in Portland that would trigger this that have no idea that they would trigger it, because they work, they have a 401k, and they have a house, and that alone would trigger it, even though they feel like, what are you talking about? I'm not a million.
What I'm saying is that if this goes, in other words, if this goes through, is there a limit? In other words...
No.
So in other words, it would cover no matter what. So
yes.
So corporations would be involved, like
corporations don't pay they're not going to be transferring their product, because a corporation isn't a single owner. So there would never
Until
no
they actually-
transition for a corporation. A death doesn't catch them because they're ran by a board of directors and they're just organized very differently. So it doesn't catch corporations. It does catch large family businesses that are filed as a corporation. That does get like what would be Roseburg Lumber. Those type of businesses would be caught. But the way we've seen, and if you look at the statistics, the greatest revenues from this tax come from estates between $1 million and $2 million. So it's the guys that are big, are already paying attorneys and lawyers who are the ones that reap the benefit from this. They're already paying attorneys and lawyers to figure out how to get out of this thing. It's that middleman that gets caught. And 54% of the revenues, I think it's what it is, 54% of the revenues brought in from this tax right now are from estates the size of $1 million and $1 to $2 million. So they're not the big guys. They're the little guys that don't have enough revenues to spend a lot of time with tax attorneys and lawyers.
Well, listening to you, it sounds like C Corp versus S Corp.
It doesn't really matter how you're incorporatized.
Yeah, but if you're a C Corp, okay, you own stock in this corporation.
Yeah.
So, the tax would be on the stock that you would own, not the corporation.
Right, yeah, there is some organizations, but most family businesses, not all of them, are S Corps or LLCs. That's how a great majority of them are organized. So they all, and like I said, you can get out of it if you have a great tax attorney and a great accountant that have spent years figuring it out. The problem is why are we having a law that if you have enough money you can figure out how to get out of, which is the ones people are like, well, they should pay, and the guys that are in the middle are the ones that get caught. So it's just a perverse law. And the other thing to remember is they've already paid taxes. They paid their their property taxes, their income taxes. They pay that yearly. And what you're doing is you're double dipping because now you're going to pay on the estate itself. Not, and people are like, well, the kids should pay because they're benefiting. It isn't a tax to the child because if you had 4 kids in $1 million estate or $1,001,000 estate and they all got $250,000, they wouldn't pay. That's not how it works. It works on the estate.